Hey everybody, Imperial here back for another Clash Royale episode. Today, it's going to be showing everybody here the top 3 decks in Clash Royale for both tournaments, trophies, and just wins in general, ever since the Golem and Ice Golem update. So the third deck in our list is including the Double Princess, Witch, Giant, Skeleton Army, Log, and Mega Minion, all mainstream cards, except for the Double Princess and Witch. Now what makes this deck so special is that we only have one building and one spell card in the entirety of the deck, and the rest of our cards, except for the Mega Minion, are all ground cards. Now, unless you absolutely have to have an air card in your deck just to counter those ground-only cards, to me, when you do choose air cards over ground cards, you are losing a fair bit of stats that have that air capability, and unless you really do need that air capability in your cards, there's no point of having air cards in your deck. They do lose stats compared to ground cards of equal price. Yeah. Let's hop into a first matchup. We're going to be facing El Rono, and this is a classic challenge. My tournament count is extremely high, sitting at 3.8 thousand, so don't want to mess around at all with that at the moment. I just want to, be laid back playing these classic challenge tournaments, and I could use the gold. 2k gold is a big reward, and let's just continue on with these tournaments and see how much gold and rewards we can get with these amazing trophy pushing decks. Now, Baby Dragon is a good tank, but its damage is pretty low, so gonna let my tower just take it out. No need to spend any elixir on top of that. And our Witch has great skeletons, distracting the mini P.O.K.E. He's getting 0 shots into our tower, and that is a positive 4 trade so far for our Witch card. Now, don't want to let it go completely to waste, so let's put a mini tank in front of the Witch card. The Dark Prince almost, so close to taking out those princes, but the Log card resetting his big charge, and he's not quite going to do the job. Once again, these cards incoming to our tower, the Archers and Mega Minions, are very slow, so no need to put down another card. Our tower can just take them out slowly as they do come towards our tower. Now we have 2 pumps in the field. This is a huge elixir advantage, and our deck does have an average cost of 4.1, so keep that in mind. It is a bit expensive. So let's go ahead. We have 2 pumps in the field. I know that I can finally go for a big push. And our opponent has a Golem deck. Now, he does have no pumps on the field, so I know that I can just completely out-trade him, or even under-trade him, but still come on top because we have so many more elixir and troops to dispose. So the mini P.O.K.E. is a huge damage dealer. Knowing that, I'm going to put down my Log card, try to give our Giant more time to just approach his tower without getting hit by that card. Doing some great work to those Archers with that Log damage. But unfortunately now, our tank is done, our Giant is dead. With these 2 pumps down, we can already rotate to a second pump, and our Witch is still left over from the whole engagement, which means that we're looking in a pretty good position, and our opponent has no pumps on the field, and spending that elixir on his Golem, his troops behind the Golem. Those have been so expensive, and clearly shown right here, he has no counters to take out these 2 big hard-hitting cards. So finally, we have a tower down for our side, giving ourselves a nice 1-0 lead. Now, a bit off topic, but I know a guy named Juice Lush, another great Clash Royale YouTuber, and unfortunately, he raged a bit too hard, and he did break his iPad, and that leads me to ask you guys this probably popular question: how hard have you raged in Clash Royale? Because for me, I always punch my iPad and phone in the screen. I don't actually whip it or something. I just punch it. It does hurt my hand, and I do have OtterBox cases on top of my devices, so I'm a bit, safe when it comes to raging in Clash Royale. But I don't know about you guys. If you don't have a case, it will shatter easily because these are glass screens. Anyways, though, our push is looking great on the top right. He has nothing to defend except for a Mega Minion, and we're defending his Golem quite well with our Skeleton Army and Mega Minion. The Mega Minion's still alive, doing so much work to that Archer. Now we have a couple of Golemites and a Minion on top of our bottom left tower. It will go down very soon if we don't defend it at all. But I'm just going to go ahead and ignore my bottom right tower, just completely sacrifice it to hopefully get the 3-count win. But I wasn't watching the time, and with 2 seconds left, no way we're going to get that 3-count win, and only settling for a 1-0 win. And overall, this Double Prince deck is high risk versus high reward playstyle. These 2 princes do lots of damage, they have lots of speed, and they can make it to a tower if your opponents don't expect it or have the reflexes to deal with it. But in return, the 2 princes in general don't have that much HP. Now, this second deck is a different story, having so much HP, including the Golem and Bowler inside this deck, 2 really beefy cards. Now, there's 2 big counters to this deck. That includes Minion Hordes. Those are really good for taking out these high hit point cards, and also the Inferno Tower and Inferno Dragon. And this is when this deck does have a bit of a dilemma, because you have to choose over the Zap card or the Arrow card as your spell, because the arrows are better for taking out Minion Hordes and also Skeleton Armies, while the Zap is greater for, just helping your decks go through those Inferno Dragon and Inferno Tower decks, resetting them with, of course, the Zap's recharge effect. But if you're a good enough player and you can push through those 2 problems, you're in for a really fun deck, having the Golem and Bowler to soak up all of that troop damage, while troops such as the Mega Minion, Minions, and Archers can just do so much work hiding behind those 2 tanks. And you could say that the Rocket is a big counter to this deck, as when you group up your cards, the Rocket can just take multiple of them out, and that's why you can, learn to split push. I've been split pushing for a couple of weeks now. It's a great effective strategy. It is expensive to do, but if you can just master split pushing, then you can, have that strategy in your books, and you can just take out or just do well against those Rocket and Lightning decks that all focus on cards that are grouping up together. Now our Golem and Mega Minion are slowly making their way to the tower, and this looks like a very big push. Our Golem is on almost full HP, and it's on the tower. This is going to be a great push. Now his archers are placed at a good angle. This way my bowler just can't hit the tower and hit them also in the same shot. Great play by our friend Ashley. But now Golemites, oh my god, so much HP. They're tanking for days, giving our bowler enough time to do actually enough work to take out the entirety of that top right tower. But our tower on the bottom left is on 404 HP. And this means that we can either try and defend with a low chance of keeping our bottom left tower still alive, or we can go for a 3-crown push, or even, sacrifice our bottom left tower and then go for a double push on his top left tower. Now we have a Valkyrie and a couple of Fire Spirits coming into our bottom left tower, but our clutch Mega Minion doing some great defensive work, and a Panic Goblin Barrel not even taking out my bottom left tower now at 195 HP. Great defensive plays, guys. Bowler is going to line up his Fire Spirits and his archers, but a well-placed Ice Golem keeping him at a bad angle, making sure that his archers do stay alive for a good amount of time. But we can just go ahead and place the Golem in front of our bowler. Let's keep that card alive. Let's try to keep the momentum, keep as much Elixir on the field as we possibly can. Now we have double air support, and thank goodness his Fire Spirits are not spawning in, because those would be deadly against my minions, which were freshly spawned a bit too prematurely in front of his furnace. Now we have a Golem, 2 bowlers, and oh my god, 4 archers on his tower. These archers are doing so much work, and their animations are pretty low-key that your opponents in most circumstances just don't expect them to do the work that they do. The 3-crown, it looks like another 3-crown is set to go. These cards are closing into his tower. A Panic Goblin Barrel, but arrows shutting down those cards. Now 2 bowlers and archers shutting down his crown tower, and a great epic game with this very beefy and simple deck. Now the reason why that deck is not number 1 or in our number 1 position is because it's a bit too tanky, and cards like the Inferno Tower and Inferno Dragon can make it feel a bit underwhelming in some circumstances. But here is our number 1 deck, going to this Valkyrie and Giant combo, including our archers once again, Mega Minion, and guards. 3 very popular cards. Now this time we have 2 spells in the deck, a Zap and a Freeze. Very strong against those Inferno decks. You can just keep it, immobilized. Now some of you might be wondering, why is this very simple Giant and Valkyrie deck so powerful? Why is it in the number 1 spot? Well, every single card in this deck, except for the guard cards, are very simple, meaning that you're not losing any statistics to stupid abilities. Like, I'll give you an example. The Dark Prince has a great shield effect, but you can never really use it to its fullest ability, and unfortunately, because you're not doing so, you are wasting Elixir by having that ability instead of better stats. Overall, I feel that every card in this deck is, the top of its category for its price. For example, Valkyrie versus Dark Prince. Valkyrie, a way better choice, more damage, more health, but lower speed in return. And speed, to me, isn't a big factor in this deck. You have the Free Spell and Zap to give your cards time to get to the tower, and just to take speed out of the whole picture. So his Hog Rider and Ice Spirit push proving to be effective. My Mega Minion was the only card I had to defend against that, so I'm just gonna go ahead and just completely ignore it. Try to just go all out under top right push. Now let's freeze the Inferno Tower, giving our Giant and Mega Minion enough time to take it out and now move on to his top right base. But that Mini P.E.K.K.A. is doing some great work to my Giant. It doesn't have enough HP to last this whole push, and my archers are by themselves with the Mega Minion to do work. But luckily enough, our Mega Minion is quite tanky, giving our troops enough time to tie up with our opponent's Hog Rider push and its damage that did do. Now in this scenario, a Skeleton Army would have been a way better choice because the Ice Spirit's radius isn't too big, meaning that most of the Skeleton Army cards would have stayed alive. But then again, you could say that the Law card could have been in his deck and it could have wiped out the entirety of our Skeleton Army. Honestly, it all comes down to personal preference. Guards over Skeleton Army, Valkyrie over Dark Prince, and even Mega Minion or regular minions. It's all up to your personal preference and what cards you have in your deck that are high levels. Now I'm a very lucky player. Almost every single card in my deck, or in my account at the moment, is of equal level, meaning that I can play around with different decks, just giving me that freedom in Clash Royale, and that's why you're seeing so many different combinations of best decks videos at the moment. And huge credit goes to everybody here watching. Because of you, my channel is doing amazing at the moment, and to all of you people who've been watching, for the past 8 months or even 12 months, and to all of you new viewers, same thing. Thank you so much for the support, and because of you, this channel is still doing well, and that's why uploads are coming in, because you guys want and request things, and if there's no demand, there'd be no uploads. The truth. Anyways, though, our push is doing so much work, Giant being able to make it to the top right tower after having a great freeze and Zap, resetting and taking down that Inferno Tower, with Hog Rider coming into our bottom right tower. And guys, did you notice we were down a tower, but now we're going for a second tower win, or even a 3-crown win, as our archers and guards make it to his crown tower on the top right. His 2 towers are focused on my Giant, instead of my guards and archers, and I can't believe this is happening, but we went from being down on tower to getting a 3-count win in just a couple of seconds. Honestly, that was a crazy game. Now what this proves is that if we were able to recover from a crappy and sloppy first interval after seeing my bad plays at the beginning of that matchup, and then just go from being down a tower to a 3-crown, then the deck has to be good, and to me, that example right there just proves that this deck is, amazing. Now what makes this deck so strong is that every single card in this deck is pretty slow except for the guard cards, and the slower cards tend to have more damage and more HP, but of course, their downside is that they can't make it to the tower in time because of their slow speeds. But with the Zap and the Freeze card, you're giving these slow cards enough time to get to the tower, do the work that's needed to be done, and like shown, even take out Inferno towers and go on to take even 3 crowns. Overall, these 3 decks will get you wins, I promise you that. I've been using it for a couple of weeks now, all 3 of these decks, to get me big trophies. Except for the last one, that one was freshly made 2 days ago. But anyways, thanks so much for watching this top 3 video. You guys have been killing it on the channel, both in subs, views, and remember, a giveaway will be happening either tomorrow or tonight. So follow me on Twitter, that is where I'm going to be announcing the giveaway and the victors. And yeah, thanks so much for watching, and as always, I'll catch you in the next episode. Peace out.